Dashiell, why do you think grown-ups are so grumpy lately? Something about an election? Oh yeah, some people are worried about sloppy joes. Maybe because they're messy. I heard there was something about Cheetos. They're messy too, you know. So who would you vote for? Cheetos! You know they're my favorite. I love a good sloppy joe and then a nap. I just want people to be nicer to each other. Aren't all Americans on the same team? Yes, we need each other. Do you know what I need? A hug. We all do. 2020 has been a pretty poopy year. Yeah.
Well, Kacy, I saw a couple of the videos of the boys talking about the election, and I was charmed by them. And I've been talking to a lot of parents about their kids talking about the election. And I think that one of the messages that I would most want parents to know right now is that we need to make sure the children understand that elections are a good thing. You know, I think that they're hearing a lot of talk.
Yeah.
You know, they're seeing things on the news that are hard to understand. And I think I'm hearing some children say, you know, elections are scary, or elections make mommy mad or make mommy upset or something.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the core message, is that elections are a good thing. And it's not the elections that are making people upset. It's the ideas or the conflict that comes from that. Is that what you're thinking too?
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's kind of what inspired me to write the little vignettes about the election, because I wanted to remind people that, you know, no matter who you vote for or what you believe in, that we're all on the same team. We're all Americans, and we need to respect each other and each other's opinions. And, you know, today's video was about just voting. And, you know, I think Fox is talking about.
I wish we were old enough to vote. I heard it's a privilege. Like screen time is a privilege? Mommy said some of our relatives are Republican. She also said some of our relatives are Democrats. We should still love them no matter what they believe or who they vote for. Can we love them even if they don't vote? Yes, but I will feel sorry about them because they're missing out on a privilege. Yeah, voting is like screen time, a special treat. Oh yeah. That's so much. You go down. Yes, I told you go down here.
And, you know, ultimately it's just about participating and voting. And so, you know, I tried to think of what I could compare voting to as a privilege for them, because, you know, they're 5. And so for them, a privilege in our house is screen time. And so for me to compare voting to screen time made sense to them. They're like, oh, it's something kind of special. And, you know, a treat, you know, a great, you know, thing that they get to do. So for them to equate voting with screen time, which seems silly, but for a 5-year-old, it's a concept they kind of grasp as far as it being a privilege to vote and take part in it. And so, you know, they're like, should we still love them even if they don't vote? And Fox says, well, yes, we should, although I feel sorry for them because, you know, they've missed out on a privilege that is, you know, it'd be like us missing screen time, and that's a real bummer, you know. So they did grasp the concept when I compared it that way. And so I just thought the videos coming from these little 5-year-old boys talking might resonate not only with children, but just to remind adults too that children are listening. And last week's video was about name calling, and so one of them's talking about.
Guess what, Dash? I heard Sloppy Joe isn't even a sandwich. He was vice president. A Cheeto isn't really a Cheeto either. It's the president. Mom said when she grew up, some people call the president a peanut head. Why do you think so many presidents have snack names? I don't know, but it sounds like name calling to me. We get in trouble from name calling. Why don't grown-ups? It's not fair. It seems like elections turn grown-ups into kids again. I promise I won't call you names, Fox, even if you become president. Thanks, Dash. Sure, Socks, old Fox. You get down!
And so it's just a reminder that, our kids do listen. Like, that stuck with me as a child, hearing my parents talk about the president as a peanut head. That's not very nice or respectful. And so I was just trying to kind of remind adults of children, no matter what side they believe, or, that set a good example, and don't be, if you want to name call or whatever, talk about it, just don't do it around the kids, because they do absorb that, and it does stick with them for like the rest of their lives. And it doesn't have to be so. I mean, obviously this election is a little more contentious and heated than most, which is another reason why I was inspired to write these and put them out, because I go to my Facebook feed or my social media, or just talking to friends, and everyone is so angry about whatever side they believe in. And I was just like, I get it. I'm passionate too about it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make me want to not like certain friends or family because of who they vote for and what they believe. And there's so much of that going on. And I just think for me, it made me want to do something. And that's why I ended up writing these little videos, and thought maybe people listen to little 5-year-olds versus like me, like they're like, just another adult, telling me what to think or believe, or, have good manners or whatever. But, coming from the mouth of babes, I think, people are charmed by it or amused by it, hearing them talk about it. And it opened kind of the floodgates for me to have these conversations with my children, because, not only did I write these and they said them, but we had to talk about it, and I had to explain what they were talking about so that they understood what the elections were and what's the different, parties, but on their level. And then I have an 11-year-old boy. So he's older, he's, in a different age category. And, the same principles apply. It's just, you kind of, they talk about when you're introducing sex ed or any sort of serious, big kind of conversation, you have to do it at their level. So you have to meet them on, at their age level and concepts they understand. And so, of course, with my 11-year-old, I can get into it a little deeper and talk a little bit more about it in terms that he understands, because he hears even more about the name calling and the rhetoric and the anger, so I have to take more time with him and explain it. But he really enjoyed the videos, and he, I think in some ways got more out of them than even the 5-year-olds, because the 5-year-olds, a little bit of it's over their head. I mean, they get it, but and a lot of the feedback I'm getting is from kids like 11 and up, teenagers and young adults, that are really appreciating the message that the twins are saying in these videos.
Yeah, and the work that we do at Britannica, at Encyclopedia Britannica, we're all about getting accurate information to students and to adults too, but of course I work with children. And so they're getting information on social media. That's for a lot of kids, not just teenagers, but younger ones too. They're online and they're getting information. And how do they know if it's true or not?
Exactly. And next week's video is about that. Next week's video it'll dovetail very nicely into this conversation and our partnership with you, because it is about research. That's what next week's video is about. And there's so much information out there, and it's important to not just take one source, but, and really vet your sources. And so that's what next week's video is all about.
How do grown-ups know what to vote for? I think the internet tells them. Ugh, that's full of fake news. But I love a good conspiracy theory. Do you want me to send you one? Is it true? I don't know, but it sounds good. Josh, you really need to research before you repost, especially in the election. Oh, research? You know I hate school. I know, that's why I'm smarter. I win.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, Britannica for Parents, we had this great example that came up over the summer when there were protests, and there was some looting in the Chicago area where I live. And there was a rumor on social media that some of the animals had escaped from the Lincoln Park Zoo during the protests and the rioting. And there were pictures on social media of like tigers walking the streets.
Oh, God.
It became a great teachable moment to talk to kids about. So you see this picture, but how do you know if it's real or not?
Yeah.
Giving kids tools where they can actually look things up, and look at multiple sources and look for accurate sources. That's a really important part of media literacy.
It is. And it's really one of the most crucial messages. I mean, I think the name calling and being kind, I mean, each message had a thing, and they're all important, but I'm really excited about next week's message about the research, because I think that helps inform people who to vote for. And it still might not change who they're going to vote for, but at least they have more information. I mean, the old adage that, information's power is true. And if people are going to debate or have conversations with loved ones or friends that have opposing opinions, it's just important to have all your facts and to have correct knowledge, not just something you see somebody post on social media once. It's important to really, dig down and do the work to know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And these are lifelong lessons for our children, that they'll not just for November 3rd, right? This is for the rest of their lives. Well, and looping back to what we talked about at the beginning, the children are listening.
Yes.
And the little ones are picking up on the emotions, but they haven't yet learned some of the basic information about how government works, how elections work. And so they do really need just some facts about how it works. What is an election? Why are we having one? How do you vote? How do you actually physically vote? You can do it in the mail. You can walk into the voting booth. There are all different ways now that we can vote, and we can vote safely. So, but the children need those explanations from us.
They do.
Counting on us.
They do. Otherwise, we tend to take it for granted, because it's something that, we just know it's second nature, and we kind of sometimes forget to stop and explain to the little ones. We just kind of assume they'll either figure it out at school, or, they'll just absorb it by watching. But just to stop and, we actually included our kids in the process. Not having them vote, but just showing them what we were doing and what the ballots looked like, and the little sticker we got, and then going to the ballot box. So it was nice to kind of include them and show them the whole process of voting, because it's a special part of our democracy,
Exactly. I think the most important takeaway is that voting is a privilege, that it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's our participation in a really important decision. And it means that we get to have a voice
Yes.
in a decision. And I think children can understand that.
Yeah. And they get excited. I mean, the twins already were like, I want to vote. I want to vote. I was like, I know, but you have to wait till you're an adult, but, that's how the video from this week starts off. Like, I wish I could vote. And that was really their own words. They do wish they could vote because, it seems like this really important privilege. And so they're excited about getting to do that someday.